Are you saying that from your own account and from your discussions with police, that reluctance to intervene was actually by design, that they got instructions not to?
It was an order. They were instructed not to interfere. Because let me ask you, Fred, there were a number of police, over 100 police officers. If they wanted to disperse a crowd of 1,000 people, they would have done it long before we checked in. They just sat behind that crowd of 1,000 youths who were waiting for us. And they did nothing. Until now they were being attacked. Because when these guys were attacking us, after we had breached them, we had now reached the police. And that's how a police officer died.
Right. Fred, let me ask him, because it was right there. Did you lodge a report with the police?
We did.
You have?
We have. Our counsel on the ground.
Yes. A number of your cars were torched?
A number of cars were torched. A number of our people were maimed. No car left that scene. We had around 150 or 200 cars. No car left that scene without a dent.
Because all this was reported to the police.
The point that I wanted him to clarify to the Kenyan people is this: a crime or crimes actually were committed. The arson, that's the attacks on the cars, the malicious damage, and the assault and whatever it is. If you do have those OBs, then you do have an entry point with the IPOA, such that now the police have failed to investigate these crimes. But if it happens, and like everybody closes the book and goes off, and we'll come on shows or wherever it is in the public domain, and we say that, you saw what happened, you did. But if we do follow up, then we hold these officials, we hold these police officers to account, because there is a legitimate complaint under the law. Remember, under the National Police Service Act, if you do not lodge a complaint against which the police can investigate, you have nothing to hold them to account.
Is that part of the failure, that probably some of these cases...
That's what I wanted to ask him.
We've gotten to a point where we assume...
So we can move forward.
Acts of goonism are common, and in any political arrangement or rivalry, they will be there. We do not report. Could that be part of the problem? Did you report this to the police? As there are records with the police that, yes, these crimes were committed?
Of course. As I've told you, our counsel on the ground is called Weke. He went to the police station and reported.
Okay. So there's a record.
But
I know there's that feeling of helplessness.
No, you see, the point that I'm making is very important. It's very important, because even if the counsel goes to court, to the police, and he says that, our vehicle or whatever was torched, the act of arson relates to a particular motor vehicle. The registered owner must lodge the complaint, and the person assaulted must lodge the complaint. Otherwise, then the police will say, this is a faceless sort of complainant, and therefore you will give them a pass. So we must be more proactive.
Yes. So from what we've seen so far with the acts of goonism that we've witnessed across the country, not just in Homa Bay, is that the greatest weakness, that we've gotten to a point where we're just lethargic about the law? We do not report this because we've seen it as something normal as we head towards the next election. No one is reporting this.
And I think also it goes with their planning. I'm not involved in political rallies. But if I were there, I would have so-called a wing that for me is like a guard. And you have to document that they are out there. Their sole object is to document any incident of such intrusion into our political meeting, in this sense. That if you do see these goons, do we capture their faces? Can we follow them? And some of these goons are actually captured, like in Olkalau, who are able then to speak forth. And that's the difference between now what is happening and Olkalau. Because Olkalau, there's a politician called Kawanjiko. His vehicle was actually,
But those are video records. And Wakili, because I'm looking at where does it become a crime and where do the police come in, and actually this matter is taken a step further.
Allow me to finish that point. Because you see, if Brian says here, there were vehicles torched, we saw that. But if the person's motor vehicle that was torched, that's an act of arson, does not complain himself or herself to the police, where does that leave us, we who are against that sort of attack? And then you give a pass to the state and they who are sponsors of this state terror or, the Goonism. Because then they feel that we can get away because our people can face this. But Brian, I would challenge you. They who are armed with bows and arrows, and we see them on social media or at least even in the news, why can they go and report that these are people who are violating the law?
Going forward, because, and I pose this question to you, because every politician or aspirant or candidate, at this point, 357 days to the next election, they're already engaging their supporters or potential voters. It would appear it's a trend now that everyone finds